Hi, welcome to this video today, which is all about best trading investment books. I want to review one of my particular favourites today, which is called 100 Minds That Made the Markets by Kenneth Fisher. Get it on Amazon for about $10. I'll put the link beneath this video if you're interested in going and taking a look at it. I would strongly recommend you buy it. A very good book for beginners. Also experienced traders will learn from it as well. So what's it about? It's about the 100 people who shaped the modern financial system. So it covers people from around 1900 up to the 1960s. They're not all traders, so he does cover central bankers, economists, etc. But there's a huge amount of traders in the book that you can learn from. When I read the book, I discovered two traders I'd never heard of who became very influential on me. And in terms of the book itself, it's an easy read, it's a fun read. It's around 450 pages long, but Fisher, just such a great writer in summarising the 100 people and just giving you the key lessons you can learn from them. A lot of colourful characters in the book. When you read the book, you will realise that financial markets have not changed in terms of what it takes to achieve trading success. There's lessons about the crowd and having the right mindset for trading success. I find it a really motivational book and often go back and read the stories. And I think if you're an experienced trader, you will associate with a lot of the colourful characters in the book and their highs and lows. So I've just picked out a few traders from the book and the key lessons you can learn from them. There are many more. Strongly recommend you get the book. Link is beneath this video. Right, let's go to a storyboard and take a look at some of my favourite traders from the book. Right, just picked out a few traders from the book. Obviously, many more. These are just a few to give you a flavour of what's in the book. Now, in terms of my first one, Hetty Green, before I read the book, I'd never heard of her. When she died, she was the richest woman in America. She died in 1916 with a fortune in today's money of $2.8 billion. If you look at the all-time rich list of Americans, she's the head of Warren Buffett, and she's not that far behind Bill Gates. She was the original value investor. She hardly ever lost a trade. She was very much operating in a man's world. Women obviously didn't have the votes in those days. Astoundingly consistent track record. She didn't aim high, okay? So she could make 10% per annum. She was happy. But she was aware of one thing, the biggest advantage of trading, compound growth. Now, in terms of compound growth, it is, but most traders don't stop to think about it. They're too short term, okay? What you've got to keep in mind is money makes money, okay? So it accelerates. It's a snowball effect. Hetty had quite conservative targets, so to speak. She's very patient. She got what she wanted. She was off to the next investment, so on and so on. And just amazingly consistent. That's the way to do it. Okay. In terms of compound growth, traders need to focus on it. Get rich slowly, not get rich quickly. Often say to traders, if you can make 100% per annum on $10,000, how much do you have in 10 years? Most traders get the question wrong. The answer is 1.4 million. So obviously, money makes money. Great lessons from Hetty Green. She's also an extremely interesting character. Obviously a woman in a man's world. She used to carry a revolver, not because she was frightened of burglars. She was very, how would I put it, weary of bankers and lawyers. And she was very tight as well, lived in a shabby area of New York, dressed like a beggar woman. A fascinating character. I think she's in the Guinness Book of Records still as the world's greatest miser. She was very careful with her money, let's put it that way. But great trader, investor. I've got two autobiographies on her. She's fascinating, and she really did know about trading and investing. And some of her rules, a lot of traders could learn from. Now, actually, thinking about it, most of the traders I'm talking about here, I've done individual videos on them. So if you just put the search in, you can find out even more about them. Now, second trader I never knew was John Maynard Keynes. I know John Maynard Keynes because my background is economics and psychology, so I'm well aware of Maynard Keynes's influence on economics, but I never realised he was a trader. He was the original macro trader. By that I mean he would trade anything, anywhere in the world where he could see an opportunity. Again, in a non-inflation world, he compounded 13% over 25 years, made himself 20 million. I don't know how much that is in today's money, but that's a really great track record. He did lose all his money when he first came into trading, but after wiping himself out, built a tidy sum of money. In terms of Maynard Keynes, we see George Soros as a giant in terms of trading. I'm convinced he got many of his ideas from John Maynard Keynes. I put the challenge of the beauty contest. I won't explain what that is here. You can go and look it up if you don't know what it is. But it very much, I think, is the the idea that George Soros based his idea of reflexivity and feedback loops. Well worth reading more on John Maynard Keynes. It's a fantastic autobiography on him. He was a fascinating character as well. And also, in terms of the book I think anyone should read, is The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. Sounds boring. It's not. Okay. Now, Maynard Keynes, exception to the rule. An economist who can actually make money. They do talk about Irving Fisher in the book, another giant of economics. Big influence on many governments and economic thinking. He taught at Yale for 35 years. He traded for most of his life, but he never made any money. He kept just lost and lost and lost. And when he died, he was in debt due to his trading. Next one up, Jesse Livermore. Everyone, I'm sure, has heard of Jesse Livermore. He's often put up as the greatest trader ever, but he wasn't. He wasn't at all. He did make and lose fortunes, okay? Most of the money that he made was through cheating, through insider dealing. And he actually died penniless, okay? I'm sure most people know that Jesse Livermore, he was an alcoholic, he was manic depressive. When he lost the fortune that tipped him over the edge, he went and just shot himself in the head and committed suicide. I think Jesse Livermore is a great example of traders who've got no control. Okay, he cannot be considered a great trader if he lost all his money, and the majority was made by cheating. I love the book Reminiscences of a Stock Operator because it really tells you. It's probably one of the best books in explaining the pitfalls of trading psychologically. It's a wonderful book. Jesse Livermore, though, was not a great trader. They cover another similar type of character in the book called Crapo Durant. He made fortunes. He could live comfortably. He ended up with owning General Motors. Every time he gambled, blew his fortune, numerous share investments that went wrong, and died in poverty. Right, who else have we got? Got William Houghton. He was the one that really developed Dow theory. And when you look at technical analysis on the web today, the Dow theory is not that popular. Yet it is the greatest technical theory in my view. And Hamilton was the one that really refined it. And he made some great calls, called the 1929 crash, for example. Anyone should go and study Dow theory. It really is a technical theory based on what I would call sound logic, and it's easy to understand. Okay, they do cover two other people influential with Dow theory as well, which is Rhee and McKee, and obviously Dow is covered in the book as well. Number 5, Edson Gould. He was a sentiment trader, and he was the world's most accurate forecaster. His forecasts were astonishing. He could call markets for years, bull or bear runs. He can almost pick the exact top or bottom. He had a great understanding of, how would I put it, sentiment. He developed his own sentiment tool, which is called the Centimeter, which still works today actually in stocks. I think it's in the book The Wall Street Waltz, which is also by Fisher. And he had a great grasp of psychology as well. No one's hardly heard of him, but if you go and look at his track record, it's amazing. Number 6, two traders here, very similar. Ben Selam-Smith and Arthur Cutten. They were around with Jesse Livermore, and they very often came up against each other in the market. They're trying to corner the markets, which you could do in those days. Basically, Livermore lost, Ben Selam-Smith and Arthur Cutten won. The thing about these two traders is they were flexible, okay? They had no confirmation bias. What I mean by that is, just doing a trade, losing, then switching it around, because you can see clearly that the fundamentals have changed. Yeah, Cutten did it. He lost 20 million. He realizes it's better to take the loss, go the other way. He recovered the lot. I think all traders suffer from confirmation bias to a degree. I mean, they're great traders, both of them. They were really into the art of cut and run. They had no problem taking losses. And I think it was Stanley Druckenmiller who said George Soros was so fantastic because he was the best trader at taking losses he'd ever seen. They're both fascinating characters in their own right as well. Their stories are very colourful. Number 7, the Fishers. They were 3 brothers. They were the underdogs who won big in Wall Street, but they've been forgotten to history. They ran Fisher Body Parts, who supplied body parts to GM. They decided to try their hand at trading. They got a lesson because they didn't really know what they were doing. They went away. They studied the market. They came back. They became the biggest investors in Wall Street, but just forgotten to history. Why does no one look at the Fishers or remember them? I think it was because they were just too boring, too modest. You just never really heard anything about them. Okay, they weren't flamboyant. They're very humble. They treated trading as a business. Very much into carefully selecting their investments. Taking their losses. All the good things you should do in trading. And I just like the idea that 3 guys, not particularly academically great, could just come in and just become the biggest traders on Wall Street. They actually did lose some money in the Wall Street crash in 1929. And at the time, the 3 brothers said, you know what, we've got enough money, we've made 100 million in those days, which was a lot of money. Best we quit and go back and have an easy life. And they went back to Detroit and never traded again. I just like the story. Okay, and then in terms of number 8, there's predicting the markets, which I'm always basically critical of because you can't, but it's just so appealing. It has been throughout trading history. There's a fascinating story of Evangeline Adams, who used astronomy to predict the markets. But who listened to her? J.P. Morgan, Schwab, King Edward of England, various movie stars. Of course, they all lost a tremendous amount of money with her. You also had William Gann and Elliot, who are featured in the book. They're still popular today. Okay, William Gann, technical system. If you actually study it, it's obvious it can't work. He measures money in terms of time. You don't. You measure money in cents and dollars, okay? It's a completely wacky theory. He never made any money with it. Yet, I know traders today who study Gann's work. And it's the same with Elliot. Elliott Wave, we've all heard of it. Elliot, not only did he say he could predict the markets, he reckoned he could predict anything in life. But the fact is, he never made any money trading. He died in poverty. How popular is Elliott Wave? And I think, if you look throughout financial history, people want an easy way to make money, a scientific way to make money. There is still around today, the far out kind of traders who love all that prediction stuff, which just doesn't work. Okay, so there's a few traders to look at, and yeah, many more in the book. And I don't know if I said it earlier, yeah, it does give a big picture of how financial markets evolved and developed as well, which I think, you know, is useful knowledge for any trader. You know, central banks, the way they behave and perform, hasn't changed that much over the years. Anyway, good book, great book in my view. Not too much of an investment, just $10. I think it's a very underrated book as well, actually. So hopefully I'm going to make it a little bit more popular. Right, that's the video. Thank you very much for watching me. Take care. Have a good day.